Hello everyone! This episode is a continuation of our last topic about appreciating the art of painting. So now, let's talk about some artists and their works. First, we have Leonardo Da Vinci. He is a Florentine painter known very much by his greatest masterpiece, the Mona Lisa. His paintings, particularly the Mona Lisa, emphasize calmness. Everyone must have observed the smile of Mona Lisa and the way she puts her hands together very calmly. Da Vinci was also the one who developed the chiaroscuro. He was born in 1452 and died in 1519 in Florence. Some of his works are The Last Supper, The Virgin and the Child in Saint Anne, Adoration of the Magi, The Virgin of the Rocks, and lastly, The Battle of Angari. So these are some famous artworks of Leonardo da Vinci. Next is we have Michelangelo Buonarroti. He was a stone carver and a painter and best remembered for his classical work, the Sistine Chapel. Two of his other works are Baccio and Pietà. He was born in 1475 and died in 1564. Next, we have Vincent van Gogh. He was a Dutch painter, so forlorn and lonely in his life. He proposed 2 marriages to 2 different women, but he was rejected also 2 times. He did not like noise to demonstrate his pain. He cut off his ears, a man who chose to be deaf than to hear the sense of the world. He lived with a prostitute. Van Gogh was born on March 30, 1853 and died by suicide on July 27, 1890 at the age of 37. His works include: first, we have the hats. Next is the 2 women. Another is the working on the other hand. Another is the head of a peasant. Next, the weaver. Another is the garden of the parish church. Next is the potato eaters. Then, the backside of the old house. Another, the old man with the head of Victor Hugo. Then, the drawbridge. Next is the view of La Creux, pronounced as La Creux in French. And lastly, the Red Orchard. Next is Pablo Picasso. He was a Spanish painter who was a constant experimenter in all mediums of painting, but he lived longer in Cubism style. He was a gifted youth, but he was always impoverished in his life, meaning siya ay namuhay sa kahirapan. That is why his works depict misery, they are poignant and melancholy. So, kaya most sa kanyang mga paintings ay nagpapakita ng kalungkutan. Each is filled with angular and stooped figure, the right representation of poverty. So, his works are, first, we have the Lave. Next is the old guitarist. Another is the boy leading a horse. Another is the Saltimabargius. Next is the Gistrude stain. Another is the female nude. Then the woman with guitar. So itong the woman with guitar, isa ito sa kanyang sample of his cubism style. Another is the Meno Tomaki. And lastly, the Guernica. So those are the some famous artworks of Pablo Picasso. Next is we have Francisco Jose de Goya y Lucientes. He was a Spanish painter known as the last of the masters and as first of the modern painter, born on March 30, 1746 and died on April 6, 1828. He was a historian and once a court painter to the Spanish crown. He was also known for his subversive and subjective theme of his art. This style became the model of Manet and Picasso. So here is the example, or here are the example of Francisco de Goya's artworks. So sa kanyang mga artworks, makikita natin na most of these artworks are related to darkness. So that is why yung mga artworks ni Francisco Jose de Goya ay tinatawag na dark paintings. So kung maghanap pa kayo, yun ang makikita nyo sa kanyang mga artworks. Next is we have Fernando Amorsolo. He was a Filipino painter best remembered for his rural landscapes in the use of light. His first taste in the art of painting was first discovered and nurtured by his uncle Fabian de la Rosa, his mother's first-degree cousin. Later, he enrolled at Liceo de Manila and at the University of the Philippines. He studied fine arts and graduated in 1914. After working as a commercial artist and occasionally as an instructor, he went to Madrid and for 7 months, he made sketches at the museo and in the streets of the city. He went to New York, where he discovered Impressionism and Cubism, which became very influential in his works. He was born on May 30, 1892 at Paco District of Manila. So here is the example of his artwork. So ganyan yung most sa kanyang mga artworks. Mayroon siyang touch of rural areas views. Yung like for example, yung mga nagtatanim ng palay, nag-aani ng palay, yung namimitas ng mga prutas. So ganun yung most sa mga artwork ni Fernando Amorsolo. Next is Juan Luna. His posture in pictures is recognizable by his Mexican-styled mustache. So makikita naman natin yung kanyang bigote. So he was the brother of Antonio Luna, a Filipino fighter who was murdered by his compatriots. Juan Luna studied in Madrid and was brought by his private tutor to Rome to study the masters. His famous work is the Spolarium that won top prize at the Madrid Exposition of 1884. He was married, but out of extreme jealousy, he murdered his wife and his brother-in-law. The French court acquitted him with all the charges. He died of heart attack on December 7, 1899 in Hong Kong upon knowing about the assassination of his brother by the fellow Filipino insurgents. So ito yung spolarium na nanalo noong 1884 sa Madrid Exposition. And lastly, we have Vicente Manansala. He was a Filipino painter from Macabebe, Pampanga, born on January 22, 1910 and died in Makati in 1981. He studied at the University of the Philippines and was a recipient of a number of scholarship grants, the privilege that allowed him to travel outside the country. That is why na marami siyang napuntahang lugar dahil sa kanyang mga scholarship na nakuha. He was awarded as a professional artist in painting. And in 1981, he was proclaimed as national artist. So ito yung isa sa mga artwork ni Vicente Manansala. Ito yung ating larong Pinoy na tinatawag nating luksong tinik. So these are all for this episode. And here is our references. So I'm your teacher May, leaving this message of Duwani Hanson. Art doesn't have to be pretty. It has to be meaningful. Thank you so much.
Till I ain't no more gone. More gone.